Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Tuesday's ugly edition of premarketinfo.com, where we try and prepare you for the most important hour a day. But, Dennis, that almost seems impossible with these markets.
Joel, the volatility in these markets is absolutely incredible. Here are the S&Ps put on this nice run through October, and basically over the course of the last 2 days, we've just given up, a third of the run. So, and looking awful here this morning, down 31 points. I don't even know what to say. Europe's falling apart again. Here, we were talking about it being a Band-Aid there a couple of days ago. I guess the Band-Aid came off in a hurry here, Joel.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's get to the numbers. It's safe to say that 1248, that Globex high, is going to hold today. Downside, we did stop at 1250. We just had that last 10-point surge. I don't know what would maybe another bank failure or something, but we popped down. I would use this 1650, the 4-day low, as a swing number. We're currently above that. And I have the 7-day low at 1208. Folks, if we get below 1208, I will post some more numbers, but holy mackerel, I thought having almost an 80-point range in the S&Ps would be sufficient, but it's not with these markets. But let's move on to the Big Ten. Apple sunk below that $400 level after holding up pretty well yesterday. If we could get back up anywhere near Monday's low, 401.05, maybe worth some shorts. Coming on the downside, I got air down to the weekly low at 393.15.
Apple held up. A lot of other stocks actually held up okay. It was a financial-based sell-off, and it is this morning again as well. Financial stocks getting killed here this morning. Apple down a bit. Apple's down $6, not quite as far as down as the market is. So it may be a little bit relative strong, but man, when these markets are going down like this, you wonder how, anything can hold up. So 400, I would continue to use that as my swing number. I think you got some decent support at 390. I'm not going to say major support. I think it could be a stopping point. But it's hard to buy anything right now.
Okay. ExxonMobil, opened lower and went lower. Really, uses those old double tops as a high, 80.64. Close draw right on the low at 78. So if we get anywhere back from that 78 to 78.09 area, try and fill that gap, I'm sure that'd be good resistance. We've already sliced through the 10 and 11, 12-day lows of 77, so I'll use those as swing numbers, and 76.31 would be the next stopping point on the downside.
Yeah, stock trading 76.58 after closing 78.09. A real turnaround day there for ExxonMobil, selling off significantly, cutting through the 80 support. Now what I'm looking at on this chart, the 75 was major resistance for 2 months. We're going to be coming and retesting that. If we go by the old technical analysis theory, resistance can become support. So it would not surprise me if we did have did see some support in the $75 area. We're $1.50 away from there. I probably wouldn't be a buyer until that area, and then maybe you can try along. But this market's crazy, so make sure you still use tight stops.
Okay, IBM, after just struggling its way to fill the gap from the earnings day, closed on the low, currently trading 3 sticks below that. Have the weekly low at 179.03. Sure seems like we're poised to test that this morning. Coming back on the upside, you can use 183.18, which was Thursday's low, as resistance, but you really got to look at the major resistance at the close and lows from yesterday.
There is a nice trend still in place there. If you look at the last 2 months chart there, there's a nice upward trend in place. 180 would probably be at the bottom of that trend line. I also think 180 is a good support area. So you might see some buyers in there. Again, caution to the buyer in these types of markets. But if you want to try along there, 180 might be a stopping point. But again, use tight stops.
Okay, Mr. Softy, we can't even talk about the 27.50 level yesterday. The seller stepped down to 27 to make that the high. We're currently trading at 7 cents above the weekly low here, 26.10, so probably 26.10 all the way down to 26. Should be good support in the market this morning. Below that, we're looking at some lows back in early October at 25.70 and 25.16. And I'm sure if we get anywhere near that $27 level, you'll find a bevy of sellers.
Yeah, sellers all over that 27 area, just like they have been for the last month. So if it was to rally up even to the high 26s, I'd probably be a seller up there now. I'm scared to buy this thing, Joel. I can see a little bit of support at 26, but there ain't a heck of a lot in there. I probably wouldn't be a buyer on this thing until at least 25, which is $1.17 away from there. So I'm sitting on my hands on the buy side. If it goes into rally mode for whatever reason, I'm a seller in the high 26s.
Okay, Chevron Corporation, I know you couldn't talk about it yesterday, Dennis, because you had a position on. I guess it rejected that 110 level on Friday and Monday. How'd that short work out for you?
Yeah, I did put it on there, Joel. It worked out okay, but the scalper blood in me never takes enough for my trades. I am a day trader at heart, so I shorted 109.90. I knew the 110 was large. I took it home. I got all giddy in the pre-market when it was down $2 and covered it. And I was like, oh, great 2 points. Now I look at the thing and it's at 102.60, so I leave 5.5 points on the table so far. So for you swing traders that are still holding that short, congratulations, you're much better traders than I am. I got my $2 out of it and was kind of happy about it, and that wasn't nearly enough, obviously, because the stock is trading down significantly. I think you'll find some initial support here at 100. It's probably going to test that area here in the next day or two. Obviously, for whatever reason, we start to rally back up. I think in the high 108s, 109s, you see lots and lots of sellers.
Yeah, I'd keep it on. Before you get to that $100 level, there's a double bottom from 8-9 days ago on 101.71. So that will definitely come into play, at least to take off some shorts. I don't know about initiating a long. And then coming back on the upside, I mean, we're going to have to struggle just to get to last week's low at 104.33. You got to sell these things when they're going up, man, because when they're going down, there's nothing there.
Yeah, that's just it. We've had such a run, it's basically all air.
Right. J&J, once again, rejected the 66 level, made a new high, from Friday by one tick, and then just puked, closed right on the low in the low 64s. Now we're down another 85 cents from there. Would love to see it pop back up to the close or settlement. Don't think that's going to happen today. I'd keep an eye for real good support at the 8-9 day lows at 62.16 to 62.31.
Yeah, we talked about that 66 seller for the last two weeks, I think, here, Joel. It got up there, obviously, close 65.86 again. So you guys, if you're taking 14-cent risk off of that guy, you probably got a really nice short there. And obviously, I didn't think it was going to, drop 2 points here in 2 days. It's a big move for Johnson & Johnson, but it did. I wouldn't be a buyer here until I'm looking from your swing trading perspective. Plenty of support down in the 62 area. I probably wouldn't touch in the 63.5. I don't see a heck of a lot in there, but I do see some pretty good support in 62.
Okay, moving on to Procter & Gamble. There's a stock that we had talked about with some major sellers, over the course of the last 2 weeks where we were rallying up. 65, high 65s, of course, could be great resistance. Now we're really quite a ways away from there. Really, I was hoping to, tag this thing, going through yesterday's low at 63.84. That doesn't look like we're going to have a chance to do that. If it comes back up to that area, it should be good resistance. The major support in this stands at the 61.78 level from October 4th.
Yeah, the stock obviously taking out that key 64 support area here today, Joel. So it does open up a bit. I'd probably say it opens up maybe even through 62, which is another $1.30 away from here. For whatever reason, it goes in rally mode, $65. I see some size up there. Kind of came into play a little bit yesterday with the high at 64.83. So again, we always talk about when you see those size at the whole numbers, you get the high frequency guys in the 90s, the swing traders selling in front of the high frequency guys in the 80s. So that's why you always get thicker in the 80s and the 90s, and that came into play again yesterday.
Okay, AT&T had a double bottom at 29.30.31 from Friday and Monday. Would have been nice to get a shot to tag it going through there. It didn't. It sliced through the $29 level. Major support was or still is at 28.32, which is the weekly low. Perhaps you'll get this one to get a pop up here and be able to short it near the low or the close.
I like the 28.5 area too, just from almost a trend line perspective here. Again, looking at the trend line from the last couple months, you can draw a little line there, and probably at 28.32 area would be the very bottom of it, but starting to see some support at 28.50. So call 28.40 to 28.50 area. I think you get some buyers in there. Got to be careful with this one though as well.
Okay, same thing with GE, settled on the low, crashed through there, so 1670 to 71 should be good resistance for the next couple days. You do have one low at 1622, but looks like we're approaching that $16 level, Dennis.
Joel, it bottomed out there a couple times last month at 16, so I think I'll probably try along there again, obviously being a little bit tight because it cuts through the 15.90 area and then it opens up again and we get into that dreaded 15 to 16 channel we were in for 2 months there in August and September. But definitely 16 is probably your first stopping point for this one.
Okay, Coca-Cola, here's another stock that was able to approach the high from last week. Missed it by 4 cents, snuck his head over 69. Then some sellers woke up. Stock closed very close to its low, 68.32 with a 29 low. We're only 50 cents away from there, so if you do get any kind of rally up to that area, make sure, or if you're long, make sure you have some offers out there starting in the mid-20s. Major support stands at the weekly low at 66.41.
Yeah, like what happens in a stock like this? You get 69. There was a size seller there and the high frequency guys. So kind of, tractor beams, like, read the tractor beam on our educational videos. It pulls it into that 69, takes out the size seller. Then once the size seller's gone, all the high frequency guys are covered because they don't want to take risk beyond 69. So they all get covered. Then it can actually open up to the downside, believe it or not. So you think it's breaking out, but no, it's actually can then break down. So you need to almost get rid of that seller to actually break the stock down. It kind of sounds, counterintuitive, but at the same time, if you read the tractor beam play, it does make some sense as well. So that size seller gets taken out, and actually then the stock has a chance to break down, which is exactly what happened yesterday.
Okay, well, the S&Ps have magically bounced off that 1250 low, so I imagine any kind of breaks down to that area will get pretty thick on the big side. Coming back on the upside, we've already exceeded our average daily range. So if we're looking for this thing to back and fill a little bit, let's look for resistance at last Thursday's low at 1237.50. Folks, that's our show for today. For the Big Ten SPU analysis, we're going to take a good break and try and find some support on these European banks for you. We'll be right back.